Hello everyone, welcome back to another Roblox Rise of Nations video. It's Phoenix here. In this video, I got players on all countries that produced uranium and had the nuclear free for all war. We had over 2 hours to prepare for the war, and at the start we had over 100 nukes and 100 million infantry combined. Let's just say all our capitals got nuked to oblivion and our countries were facing some internal problems due to the insane war exhaustion and low stability. This was done in a private server, and if you want to join these events, I occasionally host them at my Discord server, linked in the description. As always, I will talk about the event's rules and other details first. If you want to skip the rules, use the timestamp down below to jump ahead. Before the event, I specifically told everyone to use Advanced Research Bureau policy, rush quantum computing tech, followed by resource output tech and nuclear weapons tech. If you can't afford research spending while playing as a superpower, this is the most efficient way to get nukes. Do not nuke nuclear related buildings and cities that produce uranium unless it's their capital, just so players can use nukes strategically instead of spamming them out at the start. To balance the weaker countries like Niger and stronger countries, players can conquer AI but must remain under a population of 400 million. The other rules are pretty self-explanatory. They are a must for reducing lag. I started out by deleting my entire army. Even though I will have to conquer some countries to reach the 400 million cap later on, I prefer to save up more money at the start to spam factories quicker. I did what I suggested for other players and went down quantum computing as well. While I was building factories, I also built mines on uranium producing cities to save up more uranium over time for nukes. By the way, I had my alternative account on Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan alone controls over 30% of all uranium supply in Rise of Nations, and I would distribute them evenly among all players. To ensure that as much nukes are made as possible, I went communist for the forced labor policy, rushed down the resource output technology, and built mines on those cities. A city in Kazakhstan was producing 6.9 uranium on its own with a few techs, and 13.4 at max tech. The entire country was producing 33 uranium a cycle, more than all the other countries combined. After my initial build-up, I declared war on North Korea, Burma, Thailand, and South Korea. I chose to take these countries because having them in the hands of India or Russia would definitely cause lots of trouble. However, since I was over the 400 million population limit, I couldn't take Korea and Thailand's capital. Let's be honest, they would just be nuked when the war starts. But this time, my communist factory swarm caused my rankings to be way higher than the United States. It is now 30 minutes before the nuclear war starts. I was earning over 100 million in net income. I decided to build 5 uranium enrichers even though I can't maintain them just because I can afford it. I got 3 nuke silos to speed up the process of building nukes. This is the state of the road. Ukraine got most of Europe, Pakistan got most of Central Asia and Turkey, India controls Bangladesh and Southeast Asia and even parts of Africa. Niger, Lesotho and Namibia all got a decent chunk of Africa before other players grabbed it all. Lesotho also grabbed Vietnam and Taiwan. For army preparation, I spammed up 60 million infantry, their artillery limit, the navy limit, and trained them up. I already have cybernetic implants and artillery range techs, and I'm currently going down the navy tree. I was in a deficit the entire time, but I had saved up enough money in my treasury to not go into debt until the war starts. I used the form line tool for all my infantry units, even if they aren't on the front line. This prevents all of them from being wiped out in one go when a nuke hits. When the war first started, I managed to construct 9 nukes. I will build a few more during the war. Players are not allowed to nuke cities with nuclear related facilities, just so everyone can continue to build nukes after the war had started. I started out by declaring war on Japan and launching a nuke on where most of their army was positioned. Pay attention to the news bar, it is full of nuclear warnings and war declarations. With that attack, I killed 8 million population in Korea. My navy also seems to be dominating the Japanese one as well. I landed 2 million infantry in Japan and turned on auto capture. If Japan tries to build more infantry in a hurry, I can always just nuke them again. Lesotho was stacking everything they had in Vietnam's capital. 1 nuke on Vietnam's capital and I'm safe to turn on auto capture for them. That's why I formed lines all over China with my reserve infantry. It can't be wiped instantly in 1 second. While I was checking out the global situation, Wuhan just got nuked by someone. I mean, it's already 2042 in this game. It's probably too late to nuke Wuhan. After declaring war on India, I immediately launched a nuke on Bangladesh's capital. Even though 25k tanks will probably beat my infantry, I still chased after his tanks just so the nuke would also be able to wipe out his tanks. The first line of the Indian defense has collapsed. I turned on auto capture for that front as well. Prior to the war, India also controlled much of Southeast Asia. However, I don't know why, but he didn't place any units on that front. As I was secure on the Indian front, I attacked Russia and Siberia to start the grueling process of capturing Moscow. Meanwhile, Australia declared war on me and immediately launched 3 nukes at me. I had close to 60 million infantry, so even if India scorched the cities, I'm still safe to continuously go on the offense. Remember how I had previously baited India's tanks? I'm going to use that exact same strategy against the same player. I want to be efficient and not drag out the war, so I didn't want to wait for more infantry and delay the attack. All 3 of Australia's nukes hit Shanghai. As 1 nuke reduces a city's population by half, Shanghai is pretty much a ghost town after the devastation. I managed to sneak 3 million infantry into southern India without their navy noticing. As all my infantry was properly trained, even if they spam out more untrained infantry, my infantry could still beat them 2 to 1. Pretty much everyone's capital has been nuked and their stability ruined. I had over 90% stability at the start of the war, and now I'm only at 50%. Tokyo is the most populated city in the game. 1 nuke on it, and it already reduces your population by close to 20 million. After the 3rd nuke on Beijing, I was at 40% stability. I decided to take martial law to prevent my country from collapsing, but maybe it's too late already. Pakistan was using my super artillery strategy to make himself impregnable. However, the sheer amount of troops I have on him renders his artillery useless. China was starting to collapse at this point, with Manchuria being the first breakaway state. The use of nukes on reserves also makes artillery spam defense more difficult. I wanted to conquer the breakaway states one by one, but I have to first place my troops out of their borders. It's safe to say Pakistan has been defeated. My next target shall be Russia and Kievan Rus, formerly known as Ukraine. I am not going to attack Iran through the mountains terrain, okay? Amidst the chaos, the Confederate States of America declared independence from the US. I wanted to reconquer Japan, but I still have a truce with them. From this point on, I will keep all my conquered territories occupied instead of annexed, so I will not accept nor send any peace deals. I had previously sent a small infantry squadron to Australia. By small I still mean 1 million. I forgot to send any ships to guard the convoys, but they still managed to land. As I am caught up with other fronts, and the Australian one is considered a sideshow, I just turned on auto capture for them. The news part is literally full of independence declarations and casualties caused by nukes. I wanted to test if a nuke can kill a navy, so I launched one at the remnants of the Indian Navy. It turns out that you can in fact do that. Someone is addicted to nuking Wuhan over and over. It's 2044 bruh. Since I was the top dog in this free-for-all, it seems like that I am being exclusively nuked. Australia is mostly occupied by me. I am waiting for the 1 million troops over there to reinforce and then attack their capital. I am funneling more and more men to Siberia. I even managed to sneak 2 million infantry into the Caucasus to attack Russia from below. After the terrible nukings, Ukraine's country rankings dwarfs mine in comparison. I launched one of my last nukes on the Ukrainian reserve army. I didn't even know what their size was though. Russia sort of noticed my offensive in the Caucasus and delivered a weak response. The truce with Japan is finally over, so I sent an army to occupy those pesky Japanese once more. With my Australian army replenished, I went on auto capture again. Another reason for attacking the Caucasus is to bypass Russia to get to Ukraine proper. If I don't stop Ukraine soon enough, they will outlast me since they still have a functioning economy. Over 1 million Pakistani in exiles are trying to escape through the Straits of Malacca. I had 3 navy squadrons. so I caught them with ease. Russia has fallen, but the Ukrainian tank horde is sort of freaking me out. Australia proper has fallen as well. However, with me focused on Ukrainian counter-offensive, I couldn't offer much to capture Tasmania and New Zealand as well. My infantry is ransacking through Ukrainian territory, with more on the way. Ukraine had tons of entrenched tanks in one position. That's why you should always keep a main infantry unit to personally control in player wars. Ukraine was spamming out as much infantry as they possibly could, but more of my units are arriving to Europe. So now it's basically just me going up against their untrained infantry with me microing my large trained infantry unit with auto capture support. The Ukrainian rankings are collapsing, much of the server had left already, and I can't be bothered to attack through mountainous terrain. As such, I decided to only play until Ukraine can't offer any more proper resistance and I have reached 1 billion population. With Turkey capitulated and Ukraine losing all of their European possessions, I decided to end my game here. Since the Indian and Australian players are still here, I was even nice enough to return their land. I hope you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment. You can watch me play a World War I event on the left and my most recent video on the right.